Hi everyone, Chris here from IELTS Advantage, and today we have another success story, and we have Vikas, who amazingly got a band 8.5 overall, which I was just saying to him is higher than a lot of native English speakers and even IELTS teachers. He got an amazing band 9 in reading and 9 in listening. He got 8 in speaking and 7.5 in writing. Is that all
Yeah.
correct?
Mhm.
Yep,
That
Vikas.
is correct.
So
Yeah.
he's kindly decided to share his story with you guys so that you can learn from him, get some advice from him, and then you can improve your scores. So, Vikas, can you just start off by introducing yourself to everyone?
Sure. Yeah. Hi. My name is Vikas, and like currently, I'm working. I was working as a product analyst in a company called Bloom Global. I was in the US for the past 4 years, and then I decided that I wanted to move to Canada. So I left my job in the US and then moved back to India, and then started my preparation for IELTS. And finally, I took my IELTS exam on August 7th, and I got a very good score of 8.5 overall.
Excellent. Well done. Congratulations again. It's a lot of hard work to get to
Mhm.
that stage. So, well done.
Thank you.
So, can you tell us a little bit about your IELTS journey? So, like, how many times did you do the test? What scores were you getting? Those type of things.
Sure. Actually, the official test, the final test, I took it just once. So this is, but before that, I took some of like few mock tests, like
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3 of mock tests, and in all of them, I was getting overall score of like 7.5 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
But I was not getting good scores in speaking and writing exams.
Mm-hmm.
The reason was like I was not doing good in task achievements or anything. But my scores in listening and reading were always varying. Like I was always getting either 8 or 8.5, and it was always varying. The main reason I think was because I was I was having pseudo confidence in my listening and reading abilities. So I was not practicing to the right, what do you say, to my potential. So what I was doing initially was I was just going on YouTube and then looking for tests, and then I was just practicing and like was following practice makes perfect kind of thing. So I was just doing that, and instead of correcting my mistakes, I was just practicing again and again. So and after I watched your videos, I learned about like what we should do instead of practicing a lot. We should just take in a few exams and then work on our what is it our shortcomings or what all mistakes we are doing. I just started working on my weaknesses and then I got better at it.
Yeah, it's like you work in software development and product development. It's just like debugging. You know, if
Hmm.
you create a product and it's going to have a bunch of bugs because that's normal. When you're learning a language, you're going to make lots of mistakes, and when you're doing the IELTS test, lots of mistakes. But the key thing is, just like any good developer, is to focus on debugging.
Yeah.
Why did you make that mistake? And really thinking about why that was and then addressing that. So when you were going through our method for improving your reading and your listening, what were the bugs, the mistakes that you seen?
Okay. So with the listening, the issue that I had was I was instead of writing the same words that were spoken in the audio, I was using like synonyms of it or writing some meanings of it. So I concentrated on like listening to the actual word and then writing down the same thing. And other thing was like plurals. Like I was not like if the word was newspapers, I was instead of writing it as newspapers, I was writing as a newspaper. And this was having a lot of grammatical issues. Like I was having such issues. So I tried to concentrate on those things in
Mm-hmm.
like listening. And one more thing was like different question types have different strategies like you have
Mm-hmm.
put in your videos. So I was not following them. Like whenever I used to watch the YouTube videos, I just used to practice them, and then I never used to understand like what where I was lacking in the listening section. So my most like the most problematic section was for me was the maps, and
Mm-hmm.
also the section 4 of listening, because it's a 10 question and they don't give any gaps between the questions. So I tried to improve myself on those sections, and then I got better score in listening. And in the reading, I was like I was trying to read the entire passage before going into the questions. So because of this the time, like I was short on time, and then I couldn't concentrate on everything. So what I like after watching your videos, what I learned was like I've, I just had two strategies for different types of questions. So for any questions like matching the headings or matching information, I first went to the passage and then note down my keywords and also like came up with my own headings, and then I answered the question. And for the rest of them, I just went with the question and then noted down the keywords and then went to the passage. Yeah.
Excellent. So if we go back, just go back to listening a little bit. When you said
Mm-hmm.
that you spotted two key mistakes, one was using synonyms instead of the actual word, and one of them was a problem with plural nouns and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. And I think that that's a really great thing to highlight, because it shows that there was no problem with your listening skills. There was no problem
Mm-hmm.
with your English. There was no problem with you, your intelligence, or anything like that. It was just silly little mistakes that you were
Yeah.
making. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that that's why, practice doesn't make perfect, because if you just kept practicing and you
Yeah.
kept making those mistakes and not spending the time to really analyze your mistakes and figure out what the bugs were and remove those, then I know that takes, 1 day, 2 days to
Mm-hmm.
figure that out, even less. Whereas if you just tried to practice your way to a band 9, it would take,
Yeah.
years. So I think, hard work is important, but working
Mm-hmm.
smart as well is also,
Yes.
very important, as you probably know from your career as well. And then you also mentioned the different question types and having different strategies for those question types. And again, I think that that's, again, nothing to do with your listening skills or your English level or anything like that. It's just being a little
Mm-hmm.
bit more strategic and aware of the different types of questions, and then having strategies for
Yeah.
them. And it
Mm-hmm.
also reduces the stress a lot,
Yeah.
because you know what's coming, and you
True.
know, okay, this is a maps question. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. Step
Mm-hmm.
3, do that. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I do. Like that's the same thing that I did as well. Like after practicing all your strategies, like it became really easy for me during the exam. Like I knew what is going to come next, and then I was
Mhm.
able to be prepared better and then answer it properly, and then
Excellent.
concentrate on the right answer. Like while I'm listening to the audio.
And then the last question, section 4, is always the most difficult.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
anyone who's having problems with that, the last section of both listening and reading are the most difficult. It gets
Mm-hmm.
the first questions are the easiest, and then it gets more and more and more difficult. And
Yeah,
that's really the last part, is to separate out the band 9s and 8.5s and 8s and 8s and 7.5 and 7. So if you're struggling with the last part,
mm-hmm.
it's probably because you're not at that level that you need to be, and you need to focus on your listening skills, your grammar,
Yeah.
your vocabulary, things like that.
Yes,
If
so
anyone's
even I
struggling
had the
with
same issue. Like I was always having trouble concentrating on the last part. Like
that.
when it came to the last one, like I was like, oh yeah, this is the end of the exam. So I was becoming more relaxed. So what I kept in my mind is like till the speaker tells this is the end of the speaking test, or the listening test, I was not going to stop concentrating. So that helped me a lot in the last part.
Yeah, it's you think of your brain as a muscle,
Mm-hmm.
and if you were, let's say, you are very unfit. Like at the moment, I can only run. I'm going for a run after this, and I can only run like 5K at the minute. So think of that as like focusing on your listening for 5 minutes. Well, how does
Mm-hmm.
a runner get from 5K to 6K? Well, they push themselves out of their comfort zone and do a little bit more, and then you're 7K, then 8K, then 9K, then 10K. So
Yeah.
exactly the same principle with listening. Try and focus completely for 1 minute, and then 2, and then 3,
Mm-hmm.
and build it up, because it is just like your brain isn't a muscle. I know, I'm
Yeah.
aware of that. I'm not that stupid. But it does feel like that sometimes when you're trying to,
Mm-hmm.
even things like meditation can help as well.
Yeah.
You know, or reading can help as well. Just doing things that, like, one thing that's quite surprising when you do this with other, I've did this with a lot of students, is say, just read in English for 1 minute and don't think
Mm-hmm.
about anything else. Just read. And a lot of people can't do it. And in
Yeah.
the same way that a lot of people can't run 5K or 10K, it's not because they're bad people or there's anything wrong with them. They just have
Mm-hmm.
never done it before. And
Yep.
you need to keep pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, like you said, like the reading part, right? So I mean, I did not it did not come out of the blue. Like I did not become an expert in reading or listening just overnight. So I was like reading novels since I was in my 10th standard, and then
Mhm.
it has become a habit for me. So I keep reading books, and then I note down the words and then learn new words through it. So and also listening, but like I used to watch a lot of movies. So this has helped me like without subtitles. So
Yeah.
that helps a lot. So that like try to listen, and then you understand the, what do you say, the accents of people, and then also the way they speak. So it really helps. I think
Yeah.
it's a gradual process. Yeah.
Like people watching this video might think, "Oh, Vikas got a band 9, and I'm currently at a band 6, so I'll just follow what Vikas told me, and I'll get a band 9." The stuff in this video is going to help you improve, but a lot of the hard work Vikas did years ago by
Hmm.
reading regularly in English, listening to English regularly. And most people watching this don't need a band 9; they need a band 7 or maybe a band 8 for listening. And you need to put the hard work in now. And it doesn't need to be hard work if you make it a habit.
Hmm.
So get in the habit of, even reading the news or a comic book or a newspaper article or
Yeah.
a novel, whatever you're interested in. Read that for 5 minutes, 10 minutes each day, or listen to a podcast for 5 minutes, 10 minutes each day about something you love or you're interested in.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do that, if you just listen to boring IELTS stuff, then you're never going to do it regularly because you'll hate it.
True.
Do you listen to podcasts and read stuff that you're interested in just for pleasure?
So I not listen to podcasts, but I used to watch a lot of movies. As I said, like
Sure.
movies and TV series were my like what I was interested in. So I just used to watch them. Podcasts, yeah, I was never interested in, but reading part was always there. Like I always read a book. So whenever I finish, I just buy a new book and then keep reading. It's a constant thing. So that has helped me a lot with reading.
Yeah, excellent. I've never met a band 9 student who didn't have a very healthy habit of consuming English every
Hmm.
day by reading and listening, and also producing English every day through writing and speaking, even if
Hmm.
it's just 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So that could be in your job, interacting with your colleagues, or it could be, I've met band 9 speaking students who I was like, how did you get so good at speaking? I know one guy from Mexico, and he has like a like the most amazing accent, like not a hint of Mexican. You'd think he's from like Ireland or the UK,
Yeah.
and he does it through computer games. He's been
Hmm.
playing computer games online his whole life, and has been chatting to people in English. And he's like,
Okay.
"Oh, really? Am I good at English?" It's like you're amazing. And because he loves computer games, he doesn't see that as hard work or
Hmm.
anything like that. So yeah, find something you enjoy doing in English and do that
Yeah.
a little bit every day, and you'll and even if it's just watching movies,
Hmm.
that's good too.
True.
Excellent.
Yeah, I agree with the speaking part because like before I moved to the US, I had very difficulty in like speaking because even though I knew English, but I was not confident enough to speak in English. So
Mhm.
when I went there, when I started speaking with people, it helped me a lot. So practice makes perfect, but it's not just practicing the exam; it's practicing English for your life. So
Yeah,
that's what.
and I think that's what a lot of people don't get about the IELTS test is it's an
Mhm.
English test, so your English needs to be at the level. There's no magic way of getting there, but
Yeah.
it's also a specific test. So if you combine a high level of English with test taking strategies and all of these things that you're learning, then that's where you get the band 9s and the band
Hmm.
8.5s that someone like you can get. So
Yeah.
congratulations. So we've talked a lot about listening and reading. Do you want to give some advice to people about speaking or writing? Because you've got a really high score in speaking and writing as well.
Hmm.
If you were giving advice to yourself 12 months ago, what advice would you give for speaking and writing?
Okay, sure. So for both the parts, the one thing that I would say is start practicing early on. Like what I did, the mistake, like I started practicing from May. Like I decided to take the exam in May. So from the month of May, I was just practicing listening and reading every
Mm.
day, like for 1 hour, and then I never concentrated on listening or sorry, speaking or writing. So at the end, like in the month of July or something, I got serious about doing the writing and the speaking part. So that's when I joined your course as well. So yeah, that's one thing. So start practicing early on. And the second thing is know your weakness in both the parts, because when I started writing, I mean, I never wrote anything. Like I'd never practiced it. I just used to watch videos on YouTube and then see what all mistakes they make and how I can write something very similar.
Yeah.
But instead of that, take a mock exam or take your correction like service, and then get the feedback on what you have written. So this helps you to like find out the weakness, and then you can improve on that one.
Yeah.
So that's the same thing for writing and speaking as well.
There's a huge difference between learning on YouTube and getting your individual weaknesses assessed by
Hmm.
a real expert. You know, YouTube, don't get me wrong, there's some great YouTube channels out there that will familiarize you with what you need to do.
Hmm.
But you know, like you work in software development. You can't really go onto YouTube and watch lots of YouTube videos on how to become a better coder and then
Hmm.
just go and do it. You know, you,
Yeah.
you, you need someone looking at your code and telling you what's wrong with it. In the
True.
same way with your writing and your speaking.
Hmm.
There's a difference between reading and listening and writing and speaking is you're producing language when you are speaking and writing. So you need
Hmm.
someone to look at that production, that product, and say, this is great, keep doing this, that's wrong, change this.
Yeah.
And it's a simple process, but not a lot of people follow it. And again, I think it's because a lot of people think that you just go onto YouTube and watch lots of videos and then you're going to
Hmm.
get the score that you need, which is not true, I don't think.
True. I mean, like you can learn a lot of strategies by watching such videos, but unless you get the feedback, you won't be able to improve on yourself.
Yeah. Oh, and it's a shortcut as well. We don't teach shortcuts or hacks or things like that, but it is a massive shortcut in terms of time.
Hmm.
If you get your weaknesses assessed, because then you know what to focus on. You know,
True.
we teach IELTS in the same way that a doctor would treat a patient, or a mechanic would fix a car, or a dentist would
Hmm.
fix your teeth. Okay, what's the problem? That's what's the root cause of the problem, and identify that and fix that. And that is the most efficient way. It's not easy,
Yep.
but it's very efficient, you know.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I liked about your course. Like the main point that you say is clarity is king, right?
Yeah,
So, like whenever I was watching YouTube videos, they give a lot of strategies, but they never tell us like the purpose for which I'm writing or the purpose for which I'm speaking during the exam. So that is one thing that I learned from your course, and then that
yeah.
made it really easy.
For anyone watching, I'll share that with with you from the course. What is the purpose of writing? What is the purpose of speaking? It is not to show off how amazing your vocabulary is, how many grammar tenses and structures you know, how many words you've memorized. It is to clearly communicate with someone. Why do you send a text message? Why do you send an email? Why do you write a book? It is to take the things in your head and clearly communicate them. So if you could forget about 95% of all the strategies and tips and tricks and just focus on that, just focus on clear communication. And it won't only help you in the IELTS test, it'll help you in your jobs as well.
Yeah.
Like I run a company with, you know, nearly 40 people working for me now, and once 40 people all start talking together, if one of them has poor communication skills, then it's really bad.
Mhm.
So it's really, so you know what, we preach that to our team as well. You know, just be
Mhm.
super clear and simple with communication, and that's much better than, you know, memorizing a bunch of nonsense and putting it
Yeah,
on the
I
paper. So
mean that would be one of the like one advice that I would give to anyone. Like if you're learning for IELTS, don't learn for the exam. Like don't prepare for the exam. Prepare for like learning English for your life, like for the
exactly.
betterment of your life.
Exactly. Same with like the vocabulary improvement plan that we put together. A lot of people look at that and they're like, "Oh, this is going to take a long time." It's like, but if you want to move to Canada or Australia or UK, you're going to need a wide-ranging vocabulary because you want to live there. You know, you don't want to move there and just sit in your bedroom and be like, oh, I don't, you know, you want to go, and you and your family can have a much richer life, and being able to clearly communicate and understand people, what's going on, that really, really helps. And I think that's also a really good point for motivation, because a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to do this IELTS nonsense. You know, it's boring. It's tough. Don't think about that. Think about how much better your life is going to be for you and your family, and how, you know, if you're materialistic, how much more money you're going to earn. Well, you know, all those different things, and that really helps you with motivation. You know, so.
True. Yeah, I mean, that was the main difference for me. Like, I was preparing for my TOEFL like 4 years back, and I was like, I mean, I went to US to study, so I was preparing for my TOEFL, and then I just prepared for the exam. So it was not that good. Like, I did not do good at my speaking section or the writing section. But while preparing for IELTS, I prepared in order to get better at my English. So
Yeah.
it helped me a lot.
Yeah, no, it not only helps with motivation, helps your score, but just makes everything much easier if you think one step ahead and improving your general English. And your boss and your team leaders and the people working under you and with you, they will thank you for it as well, because you'll be a much better colleague to work with if you can clearly communicate. So thank you so much, Vikas. I really appreciate you helping everybody. You gave some great advice. And I wish you the best of luck in the future. If you need any help in the future, myself and my team are more than happy to help you in any way we can. So stay in touch if you need anything, Vikas.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chris.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Hey, Chris here again. Hopefully you enjoyed that success story video. That student was part of our IELTS VIP course. And on that course, we show students exactly where they're going wrong and exactly what to do to get the score that they need. And we give them all the help and support that they need in order to get a 7, 8, or even 9 in their IELTS test. Now, we only work with a really, really small number of students. Because of the level of help and feedback and support that we give students, we can only work with a very, very small number of them. But we also have more success stories than any other online or offline course in the world, which has created a huge amount of demand for our course. So we're the only course in the world, I believe, that has a very, very, very long waiting list. If you want to join that waiting list, all you have to do is just click here and you'll be able to add your name, add your email address, and then when one of our students becomes successful and leaves the course, the next position can be for you. Hopefully see you in there. Bye-bye.